this work's not about recovery, it's about spiritual enlightenment, you know, like personal enlightenment. That's exactly what I expect from these, and I do it for my own edification, and if people enjoy them, excellent, great. Weltschmerz is it's a pretentious word that I happened to come across 4 years ago on the Scripps Spelling Bee Championship. Knockout word. The definition is your internal reality is different than the external reality. It's basically not being able to put your inner reality in this outside. Putting that into context, 2 years later I started to trade stocks and equities and all that stuff. I figured out very quickly that the world is an insane place and trading is a very messed up world. Don't trade. I was staring at a computer for 12 to 16 hours a day, dreaming about waking up in a cemetery, you know, with Chesapeake Energy down 99%. I'm out. I believe Emerson said we're angels living inside an insane asylum. And that's kind of, you know, the general feelings that were going through my head, and that is when I started reading. The subject matter happens, a term overused organically, it honestly does. It happens. I think because I read a little bit too much, if you turn around and look at all these books, these are that's what I'm considering the canon. I'm considering the canon, Platonic dialogues, you know, the myth of the caves, whatever, up to Tolstoy, Marx, Darwin, Melville, you know, they're all, that's the stuff I want. That's, like, those are the themes I want. I want big themes. I want to talk about things, you know, because it really doesn't matter, the subject to me. It's the process, it's the forms, it's the mentality, it's the stream of consciousness. That's where, I think reading William Faulkner helped a lot, and Sound and the Fury, and allowing the freedom to let things flow. Things become inherently, becomes a form of meditation, I guess. The allegories, in a sense, are plastic. They are canonical allegories that are timeless. The crucifixion story is not a story that is like only in Christian faith. It's cross-cultural, so that's just a given. I just use that as a stepping stone to get to what I like to do, and that's invent and create. This is not an allegory, but it's a history painting of Mount Etna. These were trees. They turned into two nuclear warhead bomb type things, like to create landscapes and pond landscapes. Obviously a surrealistic kind of Yves Tanguy, I think is his name. Got a monk scream thing going on a little bit, and maybe with the curvilinear things. Basically, this is my tattoo. That's the genesis, the inception of this idea, and as I was working on it, this little area became a kind of Van Eyck, the brothers, Hubert and Jan Van Eyck, hell, kind of, a painting I'm obsessed with. And then it worked its way out, and then it worked its way out again, and then I started, well actually no, we went to Paris and Rome, and I was obsessed with ceiling, dome painting, so I saw that connection, and I started printing out photos that we took, and I think this is Correggio. If I'm wrong, you know, oh well. That's the Capitol Dome in Washington, D.C. So I saw similarities with them. This, I think I'm going to title Pandora. I like the idea of a woman ripping her insides apart and finding that, you know, Pandora, this woman that opened the box and all evils came out, the evil exists inside. It's kind of a cheesy reference to Der Melancholia. There's no grand scheme for these drawings, like but the process is always open. Like, it's always an open-ended process. There can never be a unifying theme. I'll try to do that until the day I die, but I think that the most important thing is think Goethe and Faust is the ceaseless striving. So I'm ceaselessly striving to find something. Yeah, I put 16 hours in a day, but I don't realize it so much. Each line becomes its own landscape. This thin Buddha with a fat Buddha carrying a balance just happens. I have no idea where it comes from, it doesn't matter. This is, it's comes out of reading. I don't know exactly where it comes from. I'm trying to think about, like, does this line match with this line? Should I make this into a landscape and these trees come out vertically? It takes me about 3 hours to hit that zone. So the 16 hours is, it starts off with a 3-hour warm-up, stretching, calisthenics, and then I hit that zone and time flies. So when I looked at this when I woke up this morning, the lights were off and it had these indentations. Apparently it was making, pressing too hard on the ballpoint pens that I use. I used to use Bic pens, and now I use Mont Blanc pens. I'll get to that later, but it gave it this labyrinth kind of feeling, and it reminded me of the inverse of a Van Gogh process. So there's clearly, I'm not sane when I'm working on these, when I'm in a zone. Basically, tattoos were the launching pad for the work. I mean, I can't deny that. I got a tattoo. This tattoo of an eye is a design that I used to make, so I used to draw stuff all the time for people, friends, myself, and trying to make sure that they're perfect, like from every centimeter, because you're going to live with it, that enter mortality, so that's how that kind of relates in a way. So then I started using different kinds of inks, paints. I used to use color always until I realized that black is, you can never exhaust black. There are many gradations. You can never exhaust the potential of the color black. The inverse of Robert Ryman, I would say, that's how I feel comfortable with black. I could go back to Giotto because he destroyed convention. He took old medieval religious icons and said, we could do this better. We could give this work more life. And it's just that basic wanting to better your craft or whatever. And it didn't have anything to do with oil painting, was a new medium. He was still working in frescoes and stuff like that. So we gotta go back to Giotto. Illuminated manuscripts. God, I could talk about Goya, Bruegel, Hieronymus Bosch, Tiepolo. In fact, oddly enough, I like basically anything that I could be inspired by, which is anything that you see in a art book, basically. Modern art, I like art theory. I'm an art theory person. Nice. I've been making these drawings for about 11 years, I would say. Drawing with ballpoint pen. I used to use a Bic ballpoint pen. Now I'm using premium pens, as you can see here. This beauty, it's an Aurora. I could talk about these pens better than I could talk about my artwork. This is a Mark Twain limited edition. 14,000 ballpoint pens made. It's ivory inside. William Faulkner pen. This is my favorite pen. It has this texture is shifting perspectives or whatnot of the characters, and his most famous book is As I Lay Dying, I think. This is the Franz Kafka red resin with the cockroach on the nib. But most importantly, and this is the only thing that matters, is that this is the transition from a Bic pen, which has acidic properties and will not last very long, to document pen. Weltschmerz is just kind of like an umbrella idea in which I could put my ideas, the content, subject matter, and kind of work within that, not having to worry about so much the contextualization of the work. Ultimately, these are spiritual drawings. The message I want to convey is that with hard work, life could be worth living.